Yeah. It's on? All right. Good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. For those who might still be out in the hall, we'll ask you to come on in and take a seat, and we'll get our event started this evening. On behalf of our membership, our Circle of Excellence sponsors, which you see to my right here, and the business community at large, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2024 Maury County School Board Candidate Forum. One of our key pillars or priorities of our organization is to impact our community in a meaningful way. I think we'll all agree there's not much more that impacts a community than its public education system. It sets the foundation for our future workforce and is a key factor of which many consider when looking to locate to a community. So the goal of tonight's forum is to provide easy and unbiased access to the candidates running for this important position of Maury County School Board members. And to aid in this, we're happy to be live streaming the event with our partners at Main Street Maury, to those who are joining us online. We'll also be uploading a recording of this on our website for you to reference in the future. Before we introduce our sponsor and our moderator, I do have just a few housekeeping notes. So tonight's format is just going to be a general forum format where each candidate has approximately 5 minutes to come up and speak their pitch of why they feel they would be the best candidate. We're happy to have 7 of the 10 candidates that are running this year joining us tonight. We also have copies of our candidate guide available. You should have received an opportunity to grab one on your way in. You can also get these online. There's a QR code that you can scan, or you can simply visit our website, MauryAlliance.com. Finally, we do ask the candidates to remain respectful of each other, and that the audience remains respectful of the candidates as they come up tonight as well. Following the forum format, we'll also have an additional 30 to 45 minutes out in the middle where you all will have an opportunity to interact one-on-one with the candidates who are here as well. So at this time, I do want to go ahead and invite the chair of our Public Affairs Committee to introduce our event sponsor and begin moderating the event. Jake?
All right. Adjust that there. Thank you, Will. I would like to just give a shout out to Maury Alliance. They do such a good job with events like this, and just really proud of the work that they do. I'd like to give recognition to our sponsor tonight, KCS Construction. As a fellow business owner here in the community, it's great seeing the buy-in from a local business like KCS for important issues like tonight's issue of education. So thank you, KCS, for what you do for the chamber. I'm going to introduce our first candidate tonight. He is Mr. Frank Bellamy, and he is running for school board in District 2.
Good evening. I hope everybody had a chance to get one of these. If you wanted one, they're out there in the lobby where you sign in, I think. I'm not going to try to repeat myself. The chamber asked each one of us to answer 12 questions about why we would like to be on the school board, what our plans would be. So I won't repeat that, but I might try to say a few things that I did not get to say there. But I probably need some people to start waving at me if I get long-winded and get down to about a minute to go. Holler, stop me. One of the things that bothered me and the real reason that I wanted to run for school board is I think it's maybe one of the most important, probably the most important county office that there is. There's a lot of negative publicity constantly that comes out about what the school system does. I would hope that we can figure out a way to, if we can't control the negative, let's back it up or follow it up the next day with something real positive. We need to have a file cabinet full of contests that FFA kids have won, and ball games that have been won, and speeches that have been won in contests in 4-H club. We need to have a lot of things ready to pull out at a moment's notice to put in the paper. Not so critical now that we don't have a really good actual local Columbia paper, but I am thankful for the Main Street Maury. They do a good job. Just yesterday, there's an article in there about one school pushing back against a ruling that against the principal. Things like that seem to make the headlines, but good things don't make the headlines. Another reason that I wanted to run is I have watched for years. I worked in the school system in Maury County for 27 years and worked 10 years at CMA before that. And I've always been interested in all the local elections as well as the national state elections. But it seems like it's really, really hard to get anybody to run for a political office. And it's even harder, sadly, to get people to go out and vote. But it's not hard for people to complain. And I think if you don't vote, you don't complain. That's I don't know how we can cure that. But I hope that together, and I'm thankful that you all are here. I hope you will help us get the word out that there is an election going to happen here 1st of August. We need people to come out and vote. Another reason that I wanted to run, and I have been asked, I've been told that I should have put a R or a D beside my name, but I didn't. I'm running as an independent. I had the pleasure, I will say, when I got 21 years old and was able to vote in 1968, I cast my first vote for Richard Nixon. There are some people probably who think that was not a real smart thing to do, but I did anyway, and I was glad to do it, and I've voted in every election that I could since then. But I have never been to a meeting of the Republican Party. I've never been to a meeting of the Democratic Party. I have voted almost always Republican, and I am a bona fide Republican according to their rules. But one of the reasons that I decided to run for this was because I won't call any names, but within the last couple of years, we'll just narrow it down to that, I heard what I call a horror story that a person on the school board got really criticized, ridiculed, probably even called some names, but because he did not or she did not vote the way that the party people wanted he or she to do. And I think that's wrong. I think especially at local level offices, and until about 1998, our state rules and regulations for elections said that all local elections are nonpartisan. That's just a relatively new thing. I think I want to vote for the person and what they stand for, not for what a party says I need to vote for. And that's the way I intend to operate if I am elected. I'll go to all the meetings. I'll go to the required training. I will try to. When I was working at Santa Fe School as a guidance counselor, I got a notebook that thick that was the Maury County Schools policy handbook. I went, actually, after I decided to run, I went up to the central office to see if I could get one of those, borrow one, copy one or something, but apparently there is not one anymore. It's all online. I would like to print that. And back many years ago, we had a courier system that came from the central office and went out twice a week to all the schools in the county to take them messages from the maintenance department and messages from central office. One of the things they always took was after board meetings, they took new pages for us to take out the old pages and put the new pages in our policy handbook. I know I'm old, but I still like to see something on paper if it's something that I'm supposed to be knowledgeable about and going to have to make decisions that relate to what I know about something. I do promise if I'm elected that I will attend the meetings, attend the required training sessions. I will read. I will try to print myself, if I have to, one of those policy handbooks for Maury County to try to catch up. We hear so much about how bad education is in the county, how bad education is everywhere. I don't really think that that's true. I think we just have more media and more knowledge, more information being put out, whether it's true or not. But when I went to school, there was no such thing up in the hills of East Tennessee as a kindergarten program. I didn't have kindergarten. Somehow I survived. Lots and lots of other people my age and even younger have made doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs and engineers and generals in the Army and things like that in a school system that supposedly is not any good. And what do people base that on? People base that on achievement tests and other testing, which is probably not the best thing to base anything on. And it's basically all tied back to money. I do not think that throwing a bunch of money at a problem is always the cure either. Sometimes it takes work on everybody's part. I think we need to consider the wishes not only of the school board, not only the central office, but also the parents and the students themselves. That does not mean that we are going to just give in if we have a policy that somebody's violated. Then there should be some kind of consequences. But we need to have an open door policy, more so than we have now. I remember back in the early 2000s, the central office had plenty of room down there. They had extra office space, but now they've had to move in portables just to have enough office space for the central office staff. These people make a lot of money. Is our education any better now that we have a lot more staff? I don't know. It probably is. And I realize that a lot of the personnel that we have at all levels, at the individual schools and at the central office, are dictated by state and federal rules. I would hope to, at some point, be able to maybe simplify some of that. We have a lot of waste. We have a lot of things, just in my opinion, that we do that maybe we could do better. I can give an example. When I first started working at Santa Fe School, the cafeteria leftovers, the ag teacher had some pigs at home, and after school was out, he came and got the barrels of the leftover food and took them home and fed them to the pigs. Nobody had a problem with that, but then all of a sudden, federal government says you can't do things like that anymore. There are a lot of things that we don't seem to have a real good reason other than we've been told we're supposed to do it. I don't know if it would be possible or not. I don't know what kind of rules and regulations there would be, but one thing I would like to change, and it might even save some personnel, I would like for the Board of Education, the county commission, to fund it. I would like to see us provide every single child in the school system at every grade free lunch and free breakfast if they wanted it. I don't care what their income is. We have a lot of people now that spend a lot of time deciding whether somebody's eligible for free and reduced lunch or not. You may be this year, but you might not be the next year. We can do away with a lot of that if we just give everybody free lunch and free breakfast and free transportation, which we already really have.
Thank you, Mr. Bellamy.
Time up?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those good ideas you have. Thank you for your time. And forgive me if I mispronounce your name this evening. We're going to introduce our next candidate. He is also running for District 2 in the Maury County School Board. Please welcome Mr. Robert Plagaman.
That was close. It's Plagaman. That's all right. Thank you. Try to make this short and sweet. Robert Plagaman, District 2. Thank you. No, I'm not going to do that to you guys. Thank you for Maury County Alliance for putting this together. Thank you for the forum. Thank you for allowing us to kind of speak. I know you guys have our questions in front of you, and I'm sure a lot of you have read those. So like Frank mentioned, I'll try not to repeat myself too much. It's hard to get a lot in 5 minutes and kind of express why we're up here, why we're running for school board and what's important for us. But to give you a little more background on myself, what's important to me is that I'm a husband and a father. That comes first. Been in Columbia for about 2.5 years. I have a 4-year-old son, a 1.5-year-old daughter, and I have a son due here early August. And Columbia has been the place that we've fallen in love with. We love the community. We've met so many community members, and no plans on going anywhere. And this is where I want to raise my children. And I look at their future. It's hard not to look at what's going on around the country and have some worry about, is some of that coming our way or what that looks like. And so for me, when I look at my children, I look them in the face and I want the best for them. And that's really why I'm up here tonight. And that's why I'm running for school board. I want our kids in our community, the students, to be set up for whatever endeavors they want to get into after high school. That is not when I was growing up, it was, hey, you got to go to college. This is the route that you need to go. And I did the college thing, and I'll give you my background here in just a minute. But I think there's so many more options out there today, such as trade schools, regular college, community college, getting different types of associates, different types of degrees that way, or going into the workforce or starting a business. I think there's so many things that we can train and teach our students today that gives them the tools to be successful in whatever route they decide to go. And I hope to be part of that change. And I hope to be part of giving back to the community as well. It's hard to complain about something if you're not going to try to fix it or try to be a part of it. To give you a little more background of myself professionally, and as you can see on the questionnaire, I range 10 different industries and jobs in the time I've been out of school. But it ranges from architecture, nuclear engineering in the Navy on submarines. I recruited for a few years in the Navy as well. I got out, did some consulting work, data analytics, and now I'm doing project management. I have an MBA, and I'll be wrapping up a master's in business analytics here in the next, I'm in my last class. I got about 14 weeks left of that. So education has been a huge benefit for me and a lot of why I've been successful in life. So that's why, school board is something I'm also interested in to give back. I've been very fortunate in my career with my education professionally. And so giving back to the community that I hope to be a part of for a long time is important. The top 3 priorities that are values that I want to express tonight is really focusing on the kids' education and giving them the tools for success, like I mentioned earlier. I know it's easy to look at standardized test scores, and I don't think we need to put all our eggs in that basket either, but we do need to look at data and look at metrics and figure out where our kids are falling under or where they're achieving and where they're not achieving. And having my data analytical background, I think I'm uniquely positioned to look at a lot of that, and hopefully make some really good decisions for our school and school system. Second is the teachers. They're on the front lines. They're the ones teaching our kids. They're the ones getting, what's the word I want to use? Yeah, they're the ones on the front lines. They're the ones that are dealing with the students, with administration, with education, all of that. And we need to listen to them and give them the tools to control their classroom. I do think some of the discipline, is lacking in a lot of settings. And I want to give the teachers the tools to control their classrooms, to provide that discipline, but also be effective teachers. We need to look at how we're training our teachers, what we're giving our teachers to continue their education, giving them different routes or options to pursue their masters in whatever they are teaching. So we definitely need to maybe look at that. And I do see some school board members up here. Maybe they can come up later and fill me in a little bit more. But outside of that, teacher retention too, keeping our good teachers, attracting the best teachers. And then thirdly, I would say transparency. As a community, thank you all for being here. For anybody watching at home, just taking the time to be here tonight means a lot. It shows that you guys care about this community. I think the school system is extremely important. It is our future generations of Columbia that will be here. And if we can't give them the foundation to be successful in life, then our community is not going to be successful. So we have to place a lot of emphasis on the school system, our education, and what that looks like. And we need to be transparent about how we are doing that so that the community can engage with us as well and provide that feedback. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you again for your time. I hope anybody from District 2, I can talk to you here afterwards and maybe talk a little more details about what that looks like for me. But I want to thank everybody and vote for me if you're District 2. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Flagman. All right, next up we have Mr. Daryl Martin. He is running in District 4 for the Maury County School Board.
Thank you. So the first guy got 13 minutes. He got 5, so I think that gives me 8. Is that correct? Okay, so I'm a pastor, so I would ask you to stand for the reading of the word. But okay. My name is Daryl Martin. I've been pastoring in this community for 22 years. I've been a realtor for 9 years, a county commissioner for 1 year, and I've been a father and a grandfather for almost 100 years. And so I care about our kids. I'm concerned about the kids of our community. My grandkids might be moving here in a year from Dallas. They've been located in Dallas ever since they were born, ages 7, 4, and 2, if I got that right. My son is now wanting to move back. He's in music. And he came back recently, and we toured homes. I'm a realtor. I don't know if I mentioned that. I did, I think. I'm a realtor, so we toured homes between here and Spring Hill and Franklin, and he told me, he said, Dad, he said, I'm sorry, I hope you understand. He said, but we've got to get the kids in Williamson County school system. His wife is a teacher. And they have a different perspective coming out. As a realtor, I've seen this time and time and time again, where buyers will contact me and they'll ask questions about the community and about the housing and about the pricing and all the different things a realtor hears. And then they will bring up the scary question, how's your school system? And our school system is a great school system. I wouldn't say it's not. But when you start researching and looking and comparing us to some other counties, it can look negative. It can be scary. And so we've got to do something to bring the bar up. So my hope is to be able to be a part of a board that works together, not against one another, not striving with the staff and the administration, but to be a board of people who say we've got to do something to set a bar that causes all of Tennessee to want to catch up with us. We ought to be setting the standard, not chasing the standard. And so that's my number one goal. I want to put it out there that and I know our school board now is doing everything they know how to do. And I certainly don't know what these guys know. This is going to be a new thing for me. It's going to be a learning curve, but we will get the training and so forth and all these things. But I've been in management all of my life, pastoral management, pastoral ministry, real estate, so forth, on the county commission for a period of time. But all of those things combined, I know that even the board that we have now, none of us are prepared for what's going to come up. Nobody knew that COVID was going to strike when it did, the way it did. And it threw these guys and these ladies for a curve because nobody knew what to do. Well, I promise you, I think you're on the same page with me. We have no clue what's about to happen in the world that we live in. But what we can do at this moment, from this time forward, what we can do is we can lay a foundation that says we're going to focus on children, and we're going to do everything we can to educate and to raise a generation of children that are prepared in a way that we weren't. And I don't know how that happens, but I know we put our heads together. We put our thoughts together. We work together. We don't work against each other. And we come to some conclusions. Okay, what can we do? What will legislation allow us to do? And then we create policy that causes things to happen. I understand that our grade point averages have gone up substantially, or a little bit in the last couple of years, which is a very positive thing. And I'm glad to hear that. But I would like to see, again, our school system be the school system that others are wanting to be a part of. I want to see our teachers love their jobs and not be afraid to go to work. I want to see our administrative staff enthused about their job, excited about doing what they have the opportunity to do. And I just want to be a part of a board that says, look, we're about children and we want to put our kids first in all that we do. And so if you remember me, I'm running for District 4. Those of you that are District 4, Maury County School Board. And 5 minutes is not a lot of time, but I share my heart with you. I'll get to points later if you want to meet with me. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. All right, next up, we have Mr. Chandler Anderson, also in District 4.
Hello, I'm Chandler Anderson. I live over in Westfield. For those of you in District 4, that's kind of the back part of Westfield. I want to start by saying this because I hear this a lot. And Maury County has great teachers. We don't need great teachers. We have great teachers. I just want to get that out of the way from the shotgun because my kids go to Maury County schools. They go to Mount Pleasant. They went to Woodard. They went to Spring Hill. We have great teachers. I can be a great surgeon, but if my operating suite is broken, I can't do a good job. So maybe I just want to start by saying we have great teachers in Maury County. We don't need great teachers. We have great teachers. We have to give them the tools they need to do their job. I'm for very basic things. I'm not running as a Republican. I'm not running as a Democrat. I'm running as a guy that's got 3 kids and an employer and somebody that loves to eat. And I want my person checking me out to be able to make change. And right now, some of our kids can't do that because we've let them down. So I am pro-vocational schools because my dad was a maintenance guy at Marshall County High School, and he provided for me and my sister and my mother a very good life. We had food on the table every night. It might not have been prime rib, but we had food in our bellies because he was able to do electrical work, plumbing, and HVAC. And if you don't believe that we need vocational education for our kids, let your AC go out right now, and that will change your mind. I am pro-teacher. If you want to know why we're having trouble in public schools, it's because we started relying on a test instead of a teacher to tell us if our kids are meeting standards or not. That's the truth. We took the TCAP when I was in school in 1978. I was born, graduated in 1996 over at Marshall County. We took the TCAP, but I sure wasn't crying about TCAP, and I sure wasn't terrorized about TCAP. They told us to get some sleep and eat a good breakfast and do the best you can. When we take the ability to promote a kid to the next grade out of the hands of the teacher that's been with them all year because of one test, we are making a mistake. And it's hard for me to believe that anybody in this audience that has a job would take your boss saying you're doing a great job for a whole calendar year, and then when it's time for your raise, they say, nope, you messed up last week. That's what we're doing to our kids with TCAP, is we are judging their entire school year by one test. Their dog could have got ran over the morning of TCAP. Their grandfather could have died. I talked to teachers during this campaign, and I had a teacher who said the kid's dog got ran over. How well do you think they did on TCAP? And you know, from our Republican friends, we like to make things great again. We need to make teachers great again because they've been great and they used to be a national treasure. I'm not real sure when we started vilifying teachers, but when we started putting little Johnny ahead of the teacher and trusting what the kid says, more than what the teacher said, that's where we started making mistakes. And when we started letting people in Nashville tell us that Miss Bush in first grade can't say that my son should go to the second grade because this legislator said this test should determine it, that's where we started making problems. And that's why we have the problems we have. I'm pro public school. Before we give a dime to charter schools, we need to fund public schools. And we are not funding them well. There was a huge ruckus about McDowell. You know why? We didn't have the money to fix McDowell. And people were upset by that. But that school had bats in it. And it is a beloved school. There are many people that love McDowell. Conley Middle School in Marshall County was like that. They had to close it down because the floors started falling in. But some of my best childhood memories was as a Conley Comet. But if we don't fund the school system, we can't expect the school system to succeed. And finally, I'm pro safe schools. We have got to get a handle on the vaping thing. We have got to get a handle on teachers having their classroom disrupted by one child. I met with a teacher early in this campaign who was unable to teach her kids math because every day after lunch, this singular child would just melt down, and she would have to deal with that because she didn't have any support. We have to be able to identify that, A, that kid needs some help, and we need to figure out what that help is. But those 29 other children have to be able to learn as well. So we got to be pro vocational because everybody's not made to go to college. And if you want to eliminate student loan debt, don't get it to start with by forcing kids to go to college who never should go to college because they don't want to go. My son's a straight A kid. He wants to be an electrician. And nothing wrong with that because if your lights go out, you're going to pay whatever it costs to get them back on. We got to be pro public schools, pro safe schools, and we got to be pro teachers. Teachers are national treasures, and I will stand on that any day of the week. I'm 4th District, and I appreciate y'all's vote.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Okay, next up we have Mr. David Moore, and he is running for District 5.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is David Moore. I am running for the remainder of the District 5 seat, so I'm kind of the odd man out here for the districts. As others have said, if you read through the manual here, there are my comments or ideals of what I would like is mostly covered there. I think I would probably like to cover what I feel like the strengths I have that I would bring to this office. So for me, number one would be a passion for education. I love the school system. I love education in general. And it's just something I feel very strongly about. The other would be advocacy. I feel that as an elected official, we have an obligation to the citizens of who we represent to be able to be accessible. They should be able to reach out to me and ask me questions or get clarification on something. Because I'll be honest, the school system is pretty confusing at times, especially if it's not something you deal with on a day in and day out basis. And something I was proud of as a former board member was being able to assist people, both students, parents, and other community members to understand the processes of how things work so that they can start to get a grasp on how they can affect the change that they're looking for. I would rather share most of my stuff in person to talk to you guys. I'll keep it a little shorter than most people have. I have some ideals, but I also recognize that I'm just one board member of 11 if I were to make it on the board. I'm not going to be changing the world overnight and by myself. So it is a team effort, and it's going to require a board that can work together, that can have strong disagreements, but be able to work through that and still be civil with each other and to come out with what is best for the kids of Maury County. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Next up, we have Mr. Gregory Hanners from District 8, running for District 8.
Is that good? Okay. All right. Well, thank everyone for coming out tonight. I'm Greg Hanners. I'm running for District 8. And the reason I'm running is that, I care about public education. My wife is a recently retired high school teacher from Central. My brother, my nephew, aunts and uncles on both sides of my family. My father-in-law was a retired high school principal in Alabama. And so my family really cares about public education. I've lived in this community for almost 25 years. And our son went to McDowell, went to Cox, and then went to Spring Hill. And I can vouch for the quality of the public education that he received here in Maury County. I'd like to see that continue. As a board member, I really have kind of identified 3 things that I'd like to see us do. Number one, I'd like to see us focus on early skills. So, because of the state mandate, we have to focus on reading, but we also need to focus on math. And getting children reading and doing math at grade level in the 3rd and 4th grade is really the key to their success later, because I know for a fact that my wife had seniors at Central who were functionally illiterate. And so, these children struggle with every other subject when they can't read. So that's really number one. My second point is that we need to have good teachers. We need to have enough teachers. We need to have enough substitutes. I know from my experience, I taught for 6 weeks at Central teaching business and entrepreneurship. I know that several times a week, teachers are pulled out of their planning period to go fill in for a teacher who's absent because we don't have enough substitute teachers. And I know for a fact that we had classes that were being taught, in particular math, that were being taught by long-term substitutes because we couldn't find and recruit qualified teachers. So we've got to improve the working conditions. We've got to recruit the teachers that we need to adequately staff our schools so that we don't have, a situation where people are being, teachers are losing their planning period. And we also need to make sure that we retain good quality talent. And so we don't serve as a pipeline to Williamson County for teachers to leave and go where there's better working conditions. And we need to be creative about how we recruit in science, technology, in math, because those are areas of high demand and there's a limited supply. So we need to maybe think outside the box and look at hiring bonuses and that sort of thing to recruit good quality teachers. The last thing is because the state looks at graduation rate as well, and they measure ACT scores, we need to concentrate on improving our graduation rate and our ACT scores across the board, because those are the things that get measured by the state. I've gone to board meetings recently and spoke against the Hillsdale charter that tried to come into the county. I don't think that's a good use of our tax dollars to support an outside organization coming in. If we had parents here and students who wanted a charter school in a particular area, like a science and technology school, that'd be a different story. But to have an outside group come in and basically try to take a chunk out of our budget, I thought was a bad deal for our taxpayers and for our students. But we're almost at the end. The good news. So thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate your support. If you take a look at my website, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Hanners. All right, we have our final candidate of the evening coming up now, Miss Lisa Webster Dawson, running for District 10.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Webster Dawson, and I'm running for District 10 for the Maury County School System. I am a citizen of Mount Pleasant, been there all my life. I've raised 2 boys in Mount Pleasant that went to Mount Pleasant School and now have grandchildren that's in the school system. I'm standing here not because I went there, not because my children was educated there, nor my grandchildren that is being educated there, but I stand as an advocate for the school system. There's things that we need to change in the school system. We need counselors for our children that's going through stress-related things in school, Not only do adults go through stress-related issues, but our children go through stress-related issues. There is vaping going on at the school that I would like to see cease. And any way possible that we can do that, I would love to see that done. Our schools are the heart of our community. They shape the minds of our youth and prepare them for the challenges of tomorrow. So what we need to do is we need to step up. As a parent, my parents always told me it take a village to raise a child, and that village is all that they have, and that community is all that the children have. And we need to step up and step with the children. We need to talk to the children, see what the problem is, and help those children along the way. Our schools are facing unprecedented challenges in funding and resource and budgets remain tight, forcing difficult decisions that often impact the quality of education our students receive. We must work together to explore solutions for the funding to ensure every child has access to the well-rounded education that prepares them for the next level in their lives. We must create a school system where every student feels like they are valued and they are someone. We must stand with our children today, not push them out of the house, but comfort them and let them know that we stand beside them. We're standing up for them. We also need to stand up for our teachers, because our teachers walk into a school system with 20 and 30 kids that they teach per day. And those kids have different attitudes. We took prayer out of schools. We need to pray at home before our children go to school. I believe in the power of collaboration between schools, families, and broader community. By fostering open communication and partnership to create a supportive network that enhances the educational experience of all of our students. We have to have that support. In conclusion, the decision that you make today will affect our children in the future, the education in the years to come. I am committed to that successful education for our children. I am committed for our children to succeed in the school system. I am committed to work with every committee that where our children can get the best for the best. Their future is important to everyone. Thank you today for coming out. My name is Lisa. I live in Mount Pleasant. Anytime you want to talk to me, I am available. Please give me a call. Thank you. And we need your vote in the school system. Thank you.
Candidates, again, thank you for joining us this evening. I want to thank everybody who came out on their own volition as well, and for those joining us online. I also do want to take a moment to thank, in addition to Jake Langston, the chair of our Public Affairs Committee, there were several other volunteers that are here that were helping greeting you tonight and passing out the candidate guides and such. So I want to thank them for their dedication to our organization and this cause. In the spirit of education, I do want to highlight an upcoming event we have scheduled for August 21st. It is our annual education lunch where we will be hearing from the Maury County Public Schools Administration on what is for an update of what is going on with the schools, and we'll be releasing some data around the schools as well. So please watch for more information about that, and you can get the details and register on our website, MauryAlliance.com. Again, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank our Circle of Excellence sponsors and KCS Building Group for their event sponsorship. And at this time, I'll ask those who are interested to please hang around, and the candidates to join us for some one-on-one conversation where you all can engage on specific questions that you might have. Again, I want to thank you all for coming and hope you have a wonderful evening.